The autumn leaves were falling the day I married Lauren. A small church on the outskirts of Columbus, her hand in mine, and those three words that still echo in my memory. She looked at me and whispered, "I do not need fancy. I just need you." I believed her. I believed every single word. We were 22 years old, madly in love, and convinced that nothing could break us. But 7 years later, those same lips told me, we got married too young. Before I begin this story, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below. And if you have ever trusted someone completely, if you have ever given your whole heart to another person, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Stay with me, because what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and what it truly means to find yourself. I still remember the smell of oak and cedar that filled my workshop every afternoon. There is something honest about wood. It does not lie to you. It does not pretend to be something it is not. You can feel its grain, see its flaws, and if you work with it long enough, it reveals its true character. That is why I became a carpenter, a craftsman who builds custom furniture with his own two hands. My workshop was nothing fancy, just a converted garage behind our little house. But to me it was everything. I had my father's old tools hanging on the wall, sawdust coating the floor like snow and sunlight streaming through the single window every afternoon around 4. That golden hour, my dad used to call it. The best time to see if your joints are tight and your surfaces are smooth. Lauren and I bought that house when we were 24. A small place built in the 1960s with creaky floors and a kitchen that was barely big enough for 2 people to stand in at the same time. But I loved it. I spent every weekend fixing something. Replaced the rotting porch boards, laid new hardwood floors in the living room, built Lauren a bookshelf that covered the entire wall because she loved to read. She would curl up on our second-hand couch with a cup of tea and lose herself in some novel for hours. I would sit across from her sketching designs for my next project, and every now and then she would look up and catch me staring. She would smile. That smile that made me fall in love with her when we were just 14 years old. We had known each other since junior high. Started dating at 16. Broke up for 1 year when she went to college, and I stayed home to apprentice with my dad. But we found our way back to each other. We always did. At least that is what I thought. Our life was simple, but full. Sunday mornings at the farmer's market picking out fresh tomatoes and arguing about whether cilantro was edible or just tasted like soap. Tuesday nights were taco nights. Friday evenings, we would sit on the porch, her reading me nursing a cold beer, watching the sun go down behind the oak tree in our front yard. We were saving money, putting away a little every month. Lauren worked as an accountant for a real estate development company downtown. I had steady work building custom tables, cabinets, and shelving units for folks around Columbus. We talked about having kids in a couple years, maybe getting a dog first to practice. Lauren wanted to plant a vegetable garden in the backyard. It was not glamorous. We drove a 12-year-old Honda that needed new brakes. Our couch had a stain on the cushion that we covered with a blanket. The bathroom faucet dripped, no matter how many times I replaced the washer. But we had each other. And I genuinely believed that was enough. The first crack appeared on a Thursday evening in September. Lauren's company was hosting their 10th anniversary celebration, some big party at a fancy hotel downtown. I was supposed to go with her, but a customer needed his dining table delivered that same night. He had family coming in from out of state, and I had already pushed the deadline twice because of a lumber shortage. Lauren said she understood. She kissed me on the cheek before she left wearing that blue dress I loved and told me not to wait up. I finished the delivery around 9:30, came home and fell asleep on the couch watching baseball. I woke up when I heard her key in the lock. It was past midnight. She walked in quietly, slipped off her heels, and stood in the living room for a moment. I remember the way the streetlight came through the window and lit up her face. She looked different, not tired, not drunk, just distant, like her mind was somewhere else entirely. I asked her how the party was. She said it was fine, just that one word, fine. Then she looked around our living room like she was seeing it for the first time. Her eyes moved across the bookshelf I built her, the worn carpet, the ceiling fan that wobbled slightly when it spun. She did not say anything, but I saw something in her expression that made my stomach tighten. She went to bed without kissing me goodnight. I told myself she was just exhausted. Long day. Too much champagne, maybe. Couples have off nights. It happens. A week later, she mentioned his name for the first time. We were eating dinner. Chicken and rice, nothing special. She brought it up casually like it was just office gossip. Guess who I ran into at the party? Marcus Whitfield. You remember him, right? I did remember him. Marcus was the guy Lauren dated for about 6 months during her freshman year of college. The year we were broken up. She told me about him once, back when we first got back together. Said he was too obsessed with money, too flashy, too focused on impressing people. Said dating him was a mistake that taught her what she actually wanted, which supposedly was me. Lauren told me Marcus had done well for himself. Real estate investor now. Had his own company, drove a Porsche, lived in one of those big houses over in Bexley where all the old money families lived. She seemed impressed. The way she talked about his success, the details she remembered, it bothered me more than I wanted to admit. But I kept my mouth shut. I did not want to be that guy. The jealous husband who gets paranoid over nothing. Lauren chose me. We had 7 years of history. Some rich guy from her past did not change any of that. At least that is what I kept telling myself. Over the next few weeks, Lauren and Marcus started meeting up. Networking, she called it. He had connections in the real estate world and she thought it might help her career. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into dinner meetings. I tried to be supportive. I tried to trust her. But things were changing. Lauren started buying new clothes, expensive blouses, and designer shoes that cost more than our weekly grocery budget. She switched from the hair salon she had been going to for years to some upscale place that charged $200 for a cut and color. She stayed late at the office more often, and when she came home she was glued to her phone, smiling at messages she never showed me. I made dinner reservations at that Italian place she used to love. She said she was too tired to go out. I built her a new nightstand with a charging station for her phone. She barely acknowledged it. I asked her directly if everything was okay between us. She looked at me with those beautiful brown eyes and said, "Why would you ask that?" My brother Danny came by one Saturday afternoon. He took one look at Lauren scrolling through her phone while I tried to make conversation with her, and I could see the concern on his face. Later, when we were alone in the garage, he grabbed my arm and said, "Something is off with her, man. I do not like it." I defended her, told him she was stressed at work. He shook his head but did not push it. Just said, "I hope you are right, bro. I really hope you are right." Looking back, I should have seen the cracks forming, but love has a way of making you blind to the things you do not want to see. The night everything fell apart started like any other Saturday. I finished a cabinet installation early, picked up a bouquet of sunflowers because they were Lauren's favorite. Grabbed a bottle of that red wine she liked from the little shop on High Street. I was going to surprise her. Make dinner. Try to reconnect because deep down I knew something was slipping away from us even if I could not name it. I came home through the back door through the kitchen. The house was quiet. Then I heard her voice coming from the front porch. Soft, intimate, a tone she had not used with me in months. I set the flowers on the counter and moved closer to the window. I could see her silhouette through the screen door. She was pacing slowly, phone pressed to her ear, and she was laughing. Not the polite laugh she gave at parties, a real laugh, the kind that comes from deep in your chest when someone truly delights you. I know she was saying, "I will figure it out. He will not understand, but I just feel so alive when I am with you. Like I have been sleepwalking for years and I am finally awake." My heart stopped. I stood there frozen, clutching that stupid bottle of wine, unable to move or breathe. The flowers had already fallen from my other hand. I did not even notice when they hit the floor. She turned and saw me through the screen door. Her face went pale. She ended the call without saying goodbye. I pushed open the door and stepped onto the porch. My voice came out steadier than I expected. Who was that? Lauren did not answer right away. She looked at her phone, then at me, then at the ground. Finally, she sighed. A long, heavy exhale that seemed to drain something out of her. It was Marcus. How long? I asked. "Griffin, it does not matter how long. What matters is..." She paused, searching for words. "I do not know if I can do this anymore." I felt like someone had reached into my chest and squeezed. "Do what our marriage us." She sat down on the porch swing. The one I built 2 summers ago because she said she wanted somewhere to read on warm evenings. She would not look at me. "We got married too young," she said. "We were just kids. I went from my parents' house straight to this house. I never got to experience life. I never got to find out who I really am, and Marcus helps you find that out. He showed me there is more out there, a bigger life. Things I did not even know I wanted." She finally met my eyes. "I am sorry, Griffin. I did not plan for this to happen. It just did. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw that bottle of wine against the wall and watch it shatter. But I just stood there feeling something inside me crack and crumble like old wood. "What does this mean?" I asked. "What do you want? I want a divorce." The next 2 weeks were the worst of my life. I begged her to go to couples counseling. She refused. I asked if 8 years together meant anything to her. She said it meant something, but it was not enough anymore. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. My workshop sat untouched sawdust, settling on half-finished projects. Danny moved into the spare bedroom because he was worried I might do something stupid. I did not have the energy to tell him I was not going to hurt myself. I was just hollowed out, empty, like someone had scooped out everything that made me who I was. 2 weeks after that conversation on the porch, Lauren came home with a lawyer, a sharply dressed woman carrying a folder full of paperwork. They sat me down at the kitchen table, the one I had built with my own hands, as a wedding gift to my wife. Lauren pushed the divorce papers across the table. "I am not asking for anything," she said. "Keep the house. Keep whatever you want. I just want out." I stared at those papers, my name typed out in cold black letters. Lauren's signature already at the bottom, neat and final. I asked her one last question, the one that had been burning in my chest since that night on the porch. "Do you love him?" She looked away. Out the window at the oak tree in the front yard, the one we used to sit under during summer cookouts. "I love the way I feel when I am with him," she said quietly. "I feel like I matter." "You always mattered to me," I said. "You were my whole world." She turned back to me, and for a moment I saw something like sadness in her eyes. "Maybe that was the problem, Griffin. I was your whole world, but you were not big enough to be mine." That night after the lawyer left, I sat alone in the kitchen, surrounded by furniture I had built for a life that was disappearing. The bookshelf, the table, the picture frames on the wall, all of it meaningless now. I picked up the pen. My hand was shaking. Tears fell onto the paper, smearing the ink slightly, but I signed my name anyway. The next morning, Lauren packed 2 suitcases, just 2. Everything else she left behind. The books on the shelf, the clothes in the closet, the memories we had built together. A silver Porsche pulled up outside our house. I watched from the bedroom window as Marcus got out. He was tall with graying temples, and a tailored suit that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. He opened the trunk for Lauren's bags, then held the passenger door for her like some kind of gentleman. Lauren did not look back, not once. She climbed into that car and disappeared down the street, taking 7 years of my life with her. I stood at that window for a long time after she was gone, wondering what I did wrong. It would take me months to realize the answer was nothing. I did nothing wrong. The first 2 months after the divorce were dark. I wandered through that empty house like a ghost. Every room held a memory. Every piece of furniture reminded me of her. I stopped taking orders from customers, let my phone go to voicemail, barely left the house except to buy groceries, and even that felt like climbing a mountain. Danny came by almost every day. He would drag me out to eat breakfast, force me to shower, sit with me in silence when I did not feel like talking. I do not know what I would have done without him. One night, about 8 weeks after Lauren left, I found myself in my workshop. I had not stepped foot in there since everything fell apart. I turned on the lights and looked around at the mess. Sawdust everywhere, tools scattered. A half-finished rocking chair, sitting in the corner waiting for hands that had forgotten how to work. I picked up a bottle of whiskey I had been nursing and sat down on my work stool. Took a long drink. Then another. The alcohol burned going down, but it was the first thing I had felt in weeks. I stared at that rocking chair. A customer had ordered it for his daughter, who was expecting her first baby. I had promised it would be done by now, but I could not bring myself to finish it. Could not bring myself to create something beautiful when my whole life felt so ugly. Then Danny's words came back to me. Something he said the week before when I was drunk and feeling sorry for myself. "She is not coming back, Griffin. And honestly, you deserve better than someone who runs after money. You are one of the best guys I know. Do not let her take that from you too." I thought about my dad, how he worked with his hands every day until the cancer took him. The last thing he ever said to me was this: "A man's worth is not in his wallet. It is in his hands and his word." I looked at my hands, calloused, scarred from years of working with wood and tools. These hands built things, created beauty out of raw materials, provided for a family that did not appreciate it. But they could still work. They could still build. I got up, put down the bottle, and picked up a piece of sandpaper. I started on that rocking chair. Worked until 3 in the morning, smoothing the arms, refining the curves. It was not perfect, but it was progress. That night was the beginning. Over the next few months, I threw myself into my work, reached out to customers I had neglected, apologized for the delays, offered discounts to make up for it. Most of them were understanding. Small towns remember when you do good work, and they forgive you when life knocks you down. A woman named Nadia walked into my workshop one afternoon in late spring. She was an interior designer working on a renovation project for a new restaurant downtown. She had seen pictures of my work online and wanted to commission some custom pieces. We talked for an hour about wood types and finishes and design philosophy. She was sharp, passionate about her work, and treated me like a professional, not like a guy whose wife had just left him for a richer man. Before she left, she handed me her card. "I have a client you should meet," she said. "Howard Jennings. He owns a chain of restaurants, 5 locations around Columbus. He is looking to redo all the furniture, handmade, local, something with character." I called Mr. Jennings the next day. A week later, I was shaking his hand in his office downtown. He was in his late 50s with a firm grip and kind eyes. He told me he was tired of cheap, mass-produced furniture. He wanted pieces that told a story. We signed a contract worth $50,000, the biggest job I had ever landed. I hired 2 guys to help me, expanded my workshop into the backyard, started waking up at 5 in the morning and working until sunset. The house that used to feel empty now felt like a headquarters, a base of operations for something new. I started taking care of myself again, joined a gym, learned to cook real meals instead of living on frozen pizza, went fishing with Danny on weekends, made new friends through Nadia's network of designers and architects. The money was good, but that was not what changed me. What changed me was realizing that my worth was never tied to Lauren. It was never tied to whether someone else thought I was enough. I was enough. I had always been enough. I just needed to remember it. 6 months after Lauren walked out, I was sitting in my kitchen, eating scrambled eggs, and watching the morning news. I had just finished the last piece for Mr. Jennings' 3rd restaurant. Life was better than it had been in years. Then the anchor said something that made me drop my fork. Local investor Marcus Whitfield was arrested early this morning on charges of securities fraud. Federal investigators allege that Whitfield operated a Ponzi scheme that defrauded more than 200 investors out of approximately $12 million. I stared at the screen. They were showing footage of Marcus being led out of his mansion in handcuffs. That same mansion Lauren had moved into. That same silver Porsche being loaded onto a flatbed truck as evidence. All of Whitfield's assets have been frozen pending the investigation, the reporter continued, including his home vehicles and bank accounts. I should have felt vindicated. I should have felt joy or satisfaction, or at least some kind of dark pleasure watching the man who stole my wife being hauled away in disgrace. But I did not. I just felt a strange kind of emptiness. And somewhere beneath that, a flicker of concern for someone I should not have cared about anymore. My phone buzzed. "Danny. Bro, you watching this? That Marcus guy arrested. Karma is real, man. Karma is freaking real." I could hear him laughing on the other end. I just said, "Yeah, I guess it is." The call came at 11 o'clock that night. I was in my workshop reviewing blueprints for a new commission. A number I did not recognize flashed on my phone screen. I almost let it go to voicemail. Something made me answer anyway. "Griffin, it is me." Lauren's voice. But not the confident, determined voice I remembered. This voice was small, trembling, broken. "I saw the news," I said. "I did not know," she said quickly. "I swear I did not know about any of it. The fraud, the lies. I thought he was legitimate. I thought." She trailed off. I heard her take a shaky breath. "The FBI questioned me for 6 hours. They do not think I was involved, but they are not sure yet. My company found out and fired me. They said they could not afford the association." Her voice cracked. "My parents will not talk to me. My friends, all those new friends I made through Marcus, they disappeared the second he got arrested. No one will return my calls." I leaned back against my workbench and closed my eyes. Part of me wanted to hang up. Another part, some stubborn piece that still remembered the girl I fell in love with at 14, kept listening. "I am staying in a motel off the highway," she continued. $70 a night. I have enough money for maybe 1 more week. After that, I do not know what I am going to do." There was a long pause. Then she said the words I knew were coming. "Griffin, I know I have no right to ask. I know what I did to you. But I do not have anyone else. Can I stay at the house? Just for a few weeks. Just until I get back on my feet." I did not answer right away. I let the silence stretch out while I looked around my workshop, at the tools my father left me, at the projects lined up waiting for my attention, at the life I had rebuilt from the wreckage she left behind. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "The worst mistake of my life. I was blinded by something. I do not even know what. Money. Excitement. The idea of a bigger life." She was crying now. "I am so sorry, Griffin. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it away for nothing." I thought about those words she said the day she left. "You were not big enough to be my world." I thought about the nights I cried alone in our bedroom, the months I spent wondering what was wrong with me, the way she walked away without looking back. Then I thought about the man I had become since then, the business I built, the peace I found, the person I discovered underneath all that pain. "Lauren," I said slowly, "I am sorry for what you are going through. I really am. I would not wish that on anyone." "Then you will help me." Her voice lifted with hope. "No." The word hung in the air between us. "I cannot help you," I continued. "Not because I hate you. I do not. I thought I would, but I do not. I cannot help you, because I finally learned to help myself first. Griffin, please. You told me I was not big enough for you. Maybe you were right. Maybe I was not what you needed. But I am big enough for me now. That is all that matters." She was sobbing, telling me I was the kindest person she ever knew, apologizing over and over. But the words felt distant, like they were coming from somewhere far away. "I hope you find your way, Lauren. I genuinely do. But that way cannot include me anymore. Not because I am angry, not because I want revenge, but because I finally know what I deserve. And I deserve someone who sees my worth from the beginning, not just when they have nowhere else to go." She did not say anything for a long moment, just quiet crying on the other end of the line. "Take care of yourself," I said, and I hung up. I sat there in my workshop for a while after that, surrounded by sawdust and wood and the smell of varnish. The same workshop where I had fallen apart 6 months ago. The same place where I had put myself back together. I did not feel happy. I did not feel sad. I just felt free. For the first time since Lauren left, I felt completely, entirely free. Life kept moving after that night. My business grew. I opened a proper storefront on the west side of Columbus. Hired 4 full-time employees. Mr. Jennings referred me to 3 of his friends who own businesses. Danny jokes that I am going to be richer than Marcus ever was. I tell him I do not need to be rich. I just need to be at peace. I learned some things over these past months. Things I wish someone had told me when I was younger, but maybe I needed to discover them for myself. I learned that love should not make you feel small. It should make you feel seen. And if someone can only recognize your value when you have nothing left to give them, they never really loved you at all. I learned that I spent 7 years trying to be enough for someone who was looking for something else entirely. The truth is, I was never the problem. And maybe Lauren was not really the problem either. We just wanted different things. She wanted bigger. I wanted deeper. Neither of us was wrong. We were just wrong for each other. I learned that forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It is about setting yourself free. I forgave Lauren. Not for her sake, but for mine. Carrying that anger was like dragging a heavy chain everywhere I went. The day I let it go was the day I finally started to breathe again. Most of all, I learned that sometimes the people we lose are not really losses. They are lessons dressed up in heartbreak. And the best thing you can do is learn what they came to teach you, let go of what no longer serves you, and keep building. That is what I did. And honestly, I have never felt more whole. If you made it to the end of this story, I want to ask you something. Have you ever lost someone you thought was everything only to discover that you were enough all along? Have you ever had to rebuild your life from scratch and found something better waiting on the other side? Share your story in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel so you do not miss the next one. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it today. Because sometimes a stranger's story is exactly what we need to realize we are not alone. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you find your peace, whatever that looks like for you. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, you are enough. You have always been enough. Take care of yourselves out there.